All right. Hi. Good afternoon, Actually, it's morning. It's Thursday, and therefore it is SEO Thursday with Virginie Dorn with Business Website Center down in Petaluma. Good morning, Virginie.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Are you hearing an echo on your end?
I do hear an echo of your voice. Yes, indeed.
All right. That's wonderful. Let me go in and check something.
I love technology, don't we?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That didn't fix it. Might want to maybe turn your speaker down just a little bit, see if that helps.
What did you say?
We'll cross our fingers. Turn the speaker down.
I did earlier. Let me see. Okay, let me see if I can hear you now.
All right. Hopefully that. All right. Well, we are just going to cross our fingers. Are you actually able to hear me okay, though?
Yes, you're fine.
Okay. It's just we're working on a time delay. It's almost like you're in Russia, you know, and it's like 1970s broadcasting, and there's that 3-second delay before you actually hear what I say.
But look how peaky we've become. I mean, truly the internet is magical. Here we are in a different town and we're talking to each other. And we're still whining when we have a bit of an echo, when in fact...
I want technology to work all the time, 24/7. I don't want any hiccup. Well, what do they say? Technology is great until it doesn't work. So.
Absolutely true.
Enough for my bitch fest. Let's talk about security. I had just read something, actually it was a couple of days ago, something like 5 million Google email accounts possibly got hacked. It showed up on a Bitcoin server somewhere out in Russia that had a list of passwords, and I was reading today that a lot of those passwords were very old, or they weren't directly related to the Google account. It could have been that they actually used their Gmail account to buy something online, and it was wherever they were buying at, it was that password. So it's kind of interesting. But we were talking about security, and one of the things that you had talked about before we started the broadcast was actually going and installing an SSL certificate on your website, even if you're not processing transactions. And so can you kind of explain what the SSL is and why a business owner, a small business owner, would want to install one on their website?
Sure, absolutely. So an SSL certificate, it's what enable the HTTPS for your domain. So if your company domain name is abccompany.com, typically you can see it on http://abccompany.com or www.abccompany.com. The SSL is what adds that S. It adds a level of security to your website. So in the past, truly, the only people that were interested in an SSL certificate were people who did e-commerce. So they were processing a transaction, credit card transaction on their website, and they wanted that extra level of encryption to protect their customers from their credit card being stolen. And most the gateway is the bank kind of software, required an SSL nowadays. So. But nowadays, with the security breaches we've seen on the increase in 2014, we are recommending all our customers to have an SSL certificate, even if they don't process payments online. And what it does, it encrypts data on your website. And most of what it encrypts is the data transfer. So if you have a contact form that a client is going to fill out and send to you, there is data being transferred. So the SSL is going to protect that data to make sure your client's email is not being stolen and the information is not being stolen. Another thing it does is if you have a content management system, once again, you're transferring data. You're logging into your CMS, you are updating your homepage text, it downloads back onto your website. That's data transfer. So again, that SSL is going to provide that encryption level when your webmaster or maybe has done some part of it, but it's an additional encryption level when it's necessary. It also looks good to your customers. It gives them a sense when your site is more secure than others, and in truth, it is more secure. And I have a feeling that even Google and other search engines likes they prefer or favor websites that have an SSL. Typically, the big boys have an SSL. So how much does it cost? Because small business owners are like, well, fine and dandy, I just don't have that kind of budget. Truth of the matter nowadays, it's about $70 per year. And if your website or your hosting provider offers an SSL certificate, which by the way most of them do, they will install it for you. All you have to do is give them your credit card, pay the $70 a year, and it'll be installed, and then it all works.
Okay, and then just to clarify that if I have a website and it's built, that website being built is not necessarily vulnerable per se from an SSL. We're talking about an SSL certificate. What you're really talking about, that where the SSL comes into play, is data transfer. And so a lot of websites these days are WordPress of content. It's got a database management behind it. So if I go and I log into my website, when I type in my username, even though the password is hidden on my screen, I don't actually see what I'm typing in, that data to a hacker is visible, is what you're saying.
It could be, yes, if someone targeting your website. And just to remind everybody out there, the hacker is not targeting your website, it's targeting hundreds of thousands of websites at once. You just happen to be in the way. So I hear a lot of people, well, who'll be interested in my bakery in Santa Rosa? Well, truly nobody, but the hacker is sending it his little virus, and he happens to see your website. The software happens to see your website, and you get hacked that way. So you don't have to be the CIA to be hacked, which they have been. You can be a very small mom-and-pop store in a small town.
Okay. And now for people that are interested or concerned about, is there malware, has my website been hacked, you said there's a piece of software that you can install that's a couple dollars a year, it's a few dollars a year, that will actually scan and check your website on a regular basis?
Yes, so there's a product out there called Signlog. It's capital S-I-T, capital L-O-C-K. And what is great about what's happening recently is most large hosting companies are now offering Signlog for their customers that are hosting with them. In the past, Signlog was typically used by a larger company. It was difficult to install. But if your hosting provider is offering that product, I encourage you to sign up for it. Typically, it's about $50 a year if you have about 100 pages. I think it gets to maybe 90 if you have 500 pages, and of course, that it goes up. So most websites will be fine with a $50 plan. It's only once a year. And again, if your hosting provider offers the service, all you have to do is give them your credit card, pay for the service, and they will do the installation automatically for you. If your hosting provider doesn't offer that product, you can go to Signlog directly, but then the installation is far more complicated, and oftentimes you will require a webmaster to do it for you. So you have to think about having to pay them as well. Again, right. $50.
Okay, and we looked up GoDaddy does have Signlog, so if your website is hosted on GoDaddy.com, they actually have a Signlog option that you can download. And what you're saying is that by buying it through GoDaddy, if your website's hosted on GoDaddy, GoDaddy does all the hard work of actually installing the files and setting up the back-end information, so you don't have to do it yourself, versus if you go to Signlog.com, upload, and you have to have FTP access, and you probably know what certain files. Or are you able to hear me?
That is correct. You got it right on the money. One thing we didn't expect, you froze for a second.
Okay.
But that's exactly true. So you understood what I said. Now, we didn't say about what does Signlog do. What it does is, first, once you sign up for Signlog, the very first time it'll do a full scan of your entire website looking for weaknesses. And then it will report to you what the weaknesses are, if there are any, and then you can judge if they are worth working on it or not. The second thing it does is every day it does a malware scan of your entire site, seeing if there is any virus while you're sleeping that are being infiltrated onto your website. And some malware are not physically visible. They're working in the back end, stealing information, looking at who's going to your website. So those are the worst because you actually do not know there is one. And in most cases, SiteWalk, by the nature of its software, will be able to remove the malware without you having to do anything. If it's not possible, again, it emails you automatically letting you know there's a malware, we can't remove it, you need to talk to your webmaster before Google and other search engines find out when your website has a bit of an issue. So it's just a $50 a year insurance policy. It totally is worth having. So I was calculating in my head, 70 plus 50, $120 a year to protect your website. It's at the very minimum you should have, regardless of the size of your website. Just imagine how much it would cost you if you were hacked and Google found out. So first you get red tagged. So there will be big red messages on the Google search pages saying, oh, don't go there, it's very dangerous, not good for business. You'll have to hire a webmaster. You will have to probably delete everything and then re-upload an older version of your website, so you're going to lose data. And all of this time, you're not in business. So again, $120 between the SSL and Signlog, worth the investment. Everybody should do it.
All right, totally agree. That is our time for today. Hopefully people are able to hear most of the conversation, seeing how we had some technical issues with the audio. Virginie, as always, I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
All right, take care.